Welcome to AM Business. Now, the Songor lagoon is under serious threats following activities of some businessmen who are wreaking havoc on the salt-winning site. Joy Business's Sandra Esinam Afanu was at the lagoon and reports the level of devastation at the site could have dire consequences on the environment.
From afar, this is what is left of the Songor lagoon: dry, parched and degraded. The once vibrant salt mining field has been deserted, leaving just a few but privileged residents in the winning business. According to some residents, activities of private winners is wreaking untold havoc on the lagoon. Instead of waiting for the rains, private businessmen have demarcated portions of the lagoon for salt winning.
They should have provided us an irrigation system. We are left with no other choice than to continue with the carrying system. If we had water pumped into the lagoon regularly, dredging of the lagoon will stop.
This development, they told me, has affected fishing activities in the lagoon.
So this is the Songor lagoon, and on a normal day, this whole area would have been filled with water from the lagoon and also for the sea for the winning of salt. But lack of policy and regulation for the activities here has left many to put the laws into their own hands. What is currently happening is that instead of waiting for the rains, some locals who can afford pumping machines have actually brought in pumping machines to pump water from the sea into the lagoon, pushing a lot of locals out of the mining business.
With the help of pumping machines, water is pumped into these dikes, popularly known as achiako, for production. The development has virtually driven many local salt winners out of business. On a normal day, these women would have just walked into the lagoon to win their own salt, but instead, they now work as laborers for dike owners. Scooping out the crystallized salt and carrying out of the dikes cost 1 cedi per bowl, sometimes 20 cedis per head on a dike a day. At first, she would have been winning her own salt, but now, look at it. They are now paid 1 cedi per bowl or 20 Ghana cedis on a dike per day.
60 Ghana, but now can first no. Now your mom dia it is 100 bucks no mo benya. Your mom sika o mo be fa coffee.
Some residents alleged in the quest to produce more, some winners are now adding iodine to the water, bringing the purity of the salt into question. The Songor lagoon produces a chunk of salt consumed in Ghana and neighboring countries like Togo and Nigeria. Current developments have affected the level of productions. We were told on a normal day about 25 trucks visit the site to buy salt, but this has reduced to about 5 in a day. Production has drastically reduced. One would have thought with a reduction in production, prices would have gone up. The story is rather the opposite. This is because there is daily winning of salt in the lagoon, making the commodity available at all times. A small sack of salt, formerly sold at 5 cedis, is now going for 3 cedis 50 pesos. The bigger size now goes for 20 cedis instead of 50 cedis during the lean period.
Say the prices to boreholes crowd more. Say so tona say we list I bet me akoto mu obewu bi ni hodo ma obewu. Just say ade no na enye say. First no na enye say eda ho. They say na o two fam na eda.
They have destroyed the land. They have dredged boreholes and one could even fall and die. At first, we could come fishing in the lagoon, and if the rains are over, then we start the winning of salt. But this is no longer the case.
For the previous years, one man called Mr. Apronti, he used to bring seawater into the lagoon. and the seawater rests in the lagoon for so many years, about 5 to 7 years. That let the salt crystallize in the Songor, very concrete one, which we used to call it balulu, and because we can get different type of salt, smooth one, the rough one, and then that balulu, which is the hard one. But since the death of Margaret Kuonu, why the Songor now belongs to the Adans, when the Adans are managing it themselves, we don't get access to the seawater to bring more seawater into the lagoon. Because to bring in seawater into the lagoon, you need more money. Yes, it involves money. The bulldozer, the operators, and the fuel that you will be using, it brings more money, and it needs organization too, so that we are not able to organize ourselves well, so that we can make that plan to bring seawater into the lagoon. So since then, since let's say 1985 up to this day, there is no seawater intake into the lagoon, and that reduces the salty power of the Songor lagoon.
Several attempts to stop the daily dredging of the lagoon has failed. According to some residents, there was an attempt in 2011 by the Minerals Commission to relocate communities along the lagoon for a takeover by strategic investors. This move was, however, met with resistance from the locals. We are appealing to government to come to our aid. We don't want government to take over. They should correct the wrong and allow we, the locals, to manage the lagoon. Executive Director of the Third World Network, Dr. Yao Graham, blamed the development on lack of faith in the foreign capital market.
Sadly, the people who lead mineral policy in this country are wearing blinkers. The blinkers which assume that large scale is the only way forward. That the large scale which has been used in gold must be the model for all minerals. That's one effect of the blinker. The second one is a kind of uncritical faith in foreign capital. And the third dimension, I think, in some instances really has been the self-interested approach of some people in and around power. At some point in the Mahama regime, the communities around the Songor Lagoon were told that they were going to be displaced. About 15,000 people were going to be displaced so that large-scale salt producers could set up there. I mean, why do you invest in social dislocation when you could build on the existing production base?
He said there is a need to have the primary beneficiary of the commodity in mind to boost the performance of the sector.
At the level of salt production, there's a big role for artisanal and small-scale salt production because of its multiple benefits. 2, there's a place for large-scale salt production as part of that production ecosystem, because they will be able to they can buy the salt. Because one of the problems facing small-scale, even the small-scale people, even with their limited production, they'll tell you that marketing and quality control is a problem. So they will want some, so at that base. Secondly, I think when you look at it, the concessions that, for example, the Ghana government has given to Anglo Gold Ashanti, almost $260 million, which is basically a giveaway, and is being justified as worthwhile. If $260 million was invested in the infrastructure to support salt production in Ghana, take the Songor Lagoon, there's a need for investment so that the lagoon's connection with the sea can be stabilized. It's public works. We are doing cocoa roads because we think cocoa is important. Similar infrastructural investments made around salt will make a significant contribution. So there's a public works, public investment dimension.
Research shows salt has more than 14,000 different uses, from the making of products as varied as plastic, paper, glass, polythene, polyester, rubber and fertilizers, to household bleach, soap and detergents. Statistically, only 6% of salt manufactured globally goes into food. 12% of the commodity goes into water conditioning. Agriculture takes 6%, highway dicing takes 8%, and industrial chemical takes as high as 68% of the total salt produced worldwide. Despite the multi-billion potentials in salt production, experts say Ghana has failed to prioritize the industry, which is pivotal for the oil and gas industry.
Salt is an important industrial product,
yes.
Which in the current discussion about bauxite and its future is a key ingredient. When you look at it, you talked about Nigeria as a market for Ghanaian salt. All these things point to the fact that we cannot be discussing the future of our salt as a narrow national question.
According to the Ghana Export Promotion Council, Ghana's salt industry as of 2009 produces between 250,000 and 300,000 tons of salt annually, despite having a production capacity of 2.2 million tons. Interestingly, the country consumes just 15,000 tons of the total production, leaving an excess of over 250,000 tons. This notwithstanding, government has allowed for the importation of salt into the country. The importation of the product has affected local salt-producing companies, including the Songor salt factory, currently begging for survival. This, Dr. Graham believes, requires a dimensional conversation around the salt industry in the country.
You see, we are talking about, say, an agglomeration of economic activities which fit together into an ecosystem, an economic ecosystem built around salt. So let's think about that agglomeration. What are the different elements of the agglomeration? What kinds of production system, what scale of investment fits where? Starting with the thing that we want to make sure that the primary beneficiaries of that resource are Ghanaians. And what are the different ways in which Ghanaians can benefit from that resource? One of those benefits, first benefit at the base, is that they are producers, which they already are. They are producing the bulk of the salt, more than 60%. How do we increase the quantity they are producing of the salt?
Neighboring Nigeria currently relies on Brazil for its 500,000 metric tons of salt for its refinery industry. Demand for industrial salt in the ECOWAS sub-region is estimated at over 3 million tons. Currently, Ghana and Senegal are the biggest regional players, producing 350,000 tons per year, even though both countries have the potential of producing more. The Greater Accra region alone, for instance, has a total water surface area of 7,920 hectares. With a production capacity of 1.4 million tons, the region is only producing 100,000 metric tons annually. Out of the 100,000 tons, Songor Salt Project alone produces 80,000 metric tons. But there are fears this could reduce drastically following developments in and around the lagoon. As of September 2017, China, the United States, India, Germany and Canada were the world's leading salt-producing countries. In 2012, for instance, China, the world's largest producer of salt, produced over 62 million metric tons, representing 22.48% of the world's demand. This was followed by the United States of America with over 40 million, representing 14.54% of the world's demand. Known as Ghana's white gold, it is quite clear the country is yet to reap the potential revenue from the salt sector. And if developments like the one at Songor are not stopped immediately, this will just be another Ghanaian story. A story best described as a nation of impossibilities. Sandra Sanamapeno, Joy Business.
And that's our AM Business today. If you liked it, join us. It's on every Wednesday, brought to us courtesy EcoBank. And for more business, you can always log on to myjoyonline.com, hit the business page, and you can read on. Up next on the AM show is AM Talk. Our guest today is a man who served in Parliament, one-term MP actually for Dade Kotopong. Born some 3 days after Christmas in 1963, he is from La Nketa. Former CEO of the National Health Insurance Authority. He wants to be the first gentleman of Ghana, but you know he has a big hurdle to cross. He's got to cross that bridge and become the candidate on the ticket of the NDC. Sly Sylvester Mensah is our guest on AM Talk. Stay with us.